Right now at noon, the Yates Center City Council reverses course on the disbanding of the police department.
And we're tracking a winter storm as we head into the upcoming weekend. So today, not a bad day to get some stuff done. We're going to go over the details with you coming up.
Plus, funding for a mandatory wastewater treatment upgrade will go to the ballot for voters in Frontenac.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Samantha Walker. We're going to start off by checking in with Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we're going to take just a quick look at what we've got for us today because I know everybody's talking about the weekend. Live look downtown Pittsburgh looks great. Partly cloudy skies, sunshine in there, temperatures not doing too bad. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good as well for the time being, but we are going to get some changes. Take a look at these changes since this morning. Winter storm warnings across the majority of our region now. These warnings indicate that there's much higher confidence in the snowfall that we're expecting as we head into this upcoming weekend. So bear in mind as well that these aren't officially in effect yet. They won't go into effect until tomorrow afternoon across the area, and then that's when we're going to get that opportunity for some snow. Quick look at yesterday's numbers, not too far from normal. Same was what we're expecting today. We started at 27, made it up to 49. Temperatures right now already warming up, and I say warming up because what we've got this weekend is nowhere near this. This is going to feel like summer comparatively. We're at 46, both Joplin and Pittsburgh. Quick look at temperatures around the region, again a little further south. Already seeing some low 50s. Into Grove, Jay, Veneta, and then up north, low, mid, upper 50s. Again, not a bad start to the day. It's going to be a good one. If there's supplies you need to get, things you want to get to prep for this weekend, now is the time. You do not really want to be out as we grow into tomorrow and the weekend. Temperatures dropping though, low 30s by 11. Clouds will increase. That cold front comes in, and that's what kicks off the start of this whole thing. We're going to break down the details for you, talk about snow totals, what we're looking at, and how long this thing's going to last here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. The Missouri State Fire Marshal is investigating a 2-alarm house fire that destroyed a home near west of Joplin. The blaze broke out on North Malang Road in Jasper County yesterday afternoon. Multiple fire departments responded, including Carl Junction, Galena, Joplin, Reddings Mill, and Carterville. Everyone escaped safely, but the fire had already collapsed the roof by the time crews arrived. 11 fire departments battle a blaze at the 3D dog food plant near Monette, Missouri. Monette Rural Fire says the mechanical fire started in a large dryer and spread to the roof and an external hopper. The size of the facility and limited water supply prompted calls for additional help. Crews brought in roughly 26,000 gallons of water via tanker trucks and were able to stop the fire before it spread further. Well, a dramatic reversal last night in Yates Center, Kansas, as the city council votes to not disband the police department. During a special meeting, council members voted to overturn Tuesday night's controversial decision to disband the city's police department. The original 3-2 vote sparked immediate backlash from residents and strong opposition from the mayor. Council members who supported the move cited budget concerns, saying the city needed to cut costs by turning policing responsibilities over to the county. But for many residents, the idea of living without a local police department raised serious safety concerns.
Earlier this year, they did have a lockdown, which scared the students, but the students knew that the police were supposed to be covering it. It ended up being nothing. It was just a false alarm. Somebody seen something that was a little scary. But what if it really happens? How are they going to take care of it? And which direction is one man going to go? They need to keep us with coverage.
Before yesterday's special meeting, the council member who originally proposed disbanding the police department, Lyle Key, resigned from the council. Frontenac voters head to the polls in March to decide how to pay for a multi-million-dollar wastewater treatment plant. KOAM's Nellie Lopez spoke with the Frontenac mayor and the city administrator to find out why they say the project has to happen.
Frontenac faces a multi-million-dollar mandate. The city must build a new wastewater treatment plant.
Well, we currently operate sewer lagoons, which are very cheap to operate. A lot of small towns use them. We have new requirements that require us to treat for ammonia and phosphorus, which sewer lagoons can't do. So our mandate from the state of Kansas is we have to build a mechanical wastewater treatment plant to replace those.
In 2019, the Kansas Department of Health reached out to the city to let them know that this lagoon system is not up to date to help eliminate all the hazardous waste material.
These are chemicals that enter our wastewater treatment system through farm runoff or through detergents, things like that we use in our household. We can't treat for them, and so they eventually get discharged back into the environment, which is not good for our streams and waterways.
Due to environmental factors and COVID, the project was put on hold.
So we've been working on it since then, but it's come due, and we're up against the deadlines and everything now.
With deadlines looming, the decision of how to pay for the project faces voters March 3rd. A ballot question proposing an additional 3/4 cent sales tax.
People need to know that this is a mandated project. We don't have a choice. We have to do it regardless, and we're just asking the citizens, do you want to fund it through user rates, or would you like to do a hybrid model where we use a sales tax and user rates?
People have any questions, please come to one of those 2 public input sessions. Please come and ask the questions. We're trying to be very forthright and transparent on all this.
In Frontenac, Kansas, Nellie Lopez, KOAM News.
If the sales tax fails, monthly sewer bills will increase to approximately $75, with residents and local businesses bearing the full financial burden. While the Oklahoma Department of Transportation and Oklahoma Turnpike Authority are preparing for the possibility of wintry weekend weather, both have crews ready and prepared to handle the worst of the weather if it comes. Because of the high traffic and high speeds of the turnpike, their crews are already pre-treating roads.
So those crews will be doing all that pre-treating for the next couple of days in preparation. And then once we get closer to the storm system actually moving into Oklahoma, those crews will start working 12-hour shifts in rotation and being prepared to go out with sand and salt trucks as soon as that precipitation starts.
Oklahoma Turnpike Authority says that it is better to be behind the snow trucks than in front, and to please give them plenty of room. Well, coming up next, President Trump met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on day 2 of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and as negotiations continue on the Russia-Ukraine war. And later, we're making a secret ingredient meatloaf in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. President Trump wrapped up his time at the World Economic Forum meeting with Ukraine's president as negotiations over ending the war with Russia have stalled. The president also unveiled his new Board of Peace, aimed at keeping the ceasefire in Gaza in place. And we're learning more about his possible future deal on Greenland. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
President Trump met privately with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky for about an hour Thursday, hoping for a breakthrough to end Russia's war on Ukraine. But he acknowledged there's a ways to go.
We'll see how it turns out. A lot of people being killed.
No security guarantees work without the U.S. But what about the ceasefire itself?
Earlier in the day, the president introduced the first members of his Board of Peace, which he said will work with the United Nations to ensure peace in Gaza and the Middle East.
We're committed to ensuring Gaza is demilitarized, properly governed, and beautifully rebuilt.
So far, major European allies have held off from joining, some saying they need parliamentary approval and want more information about how it will work.
Others will join. Many want to be a part of this effort because it is going to be a successful effort.
President Trump is also touting what he calls a framework for a deal on Greenland after meeting yesterday with NATO's Secretary General.
We're getting everything we wanted, total security, total access to everything, have as many bases, have all the equipment that we want.
I know that the Arctic countries are all willing to do this, want NATO to take the lead here, bring NATO together and all the allies.
Diplomatic sources tell CBS News the deal is not an agreement for U.S. controller ownership, which remains a red line for Denmark and Greenland, but could beef up the existing U.S.-Denmark deal from 1951, which allowed the U.S. to establish military bases on the island. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
The debate on how to make the best meatloaf continues. What's your secret? And are you willing to try something new?
And we've got a winter storm as we head into the upcoming weekend. The latest on that, snow totals and those temperatures when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon on this Thursday. All right, today, if you got to get stuff, first off, please don't fight your neighbors. Don't go up to Walmart or your local grocery store and engage in fisticuffs over bread and milk, okay? It's not that serious. There's going to be plenty. Take your time. But today is the day you want to do that because it's going to be way too cold to try and do that tomorrow across the area. Real quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Looks good. That's what I'm saying. Now is the time to go and take care of what you need to take care of, because after that, you're not going to want to go out and take care of what you need to take care of. So here's what we got. Clouds will start increasing late this evening into the overnight. Cold front comes through. Winds ramp up out of the northeast, and they'll start gusting upwards of 30. Friday, most of the day, at least precipitation-wise, is clear. We'll have the clouds, we're going to have gusty winds, and those temperatures are going to struggle to make the low to mid-20s, which is going to keep our wind chills Friday about 5 to 10 above zero. That's going to be the last bit of warmth we get before the weekend sets in. 5 o'clock Friday, mostly cloudy skies, and then about 8, 9 o'clock, it starts here, Yates Center, Eureka. We've got some snow. It begins to push in from the west. Then we get the other portion of it that's off to the southwest, pushing into the area. By midnight, snow across southeast Kansas, pushing into northeastern Oklahoma. And by 5 o'clock Saturday morning, it is here. Now, I again want to remind you, there will be 2 waves of snow. So when this one wraps up by Saturday late morning, early afternoon, don't assume it's done, because it's not. All right, we're still going to be dealing with gusty winds. So there are several parts of this winter storm. The snow, obviously one of those parts. Second is the wind, which creates 2 problems. 1, the dangerously cold wind chills, which we'll talk about in a moment. And 2, the potential for blowing snow. That could lead to reduced visibilities. While uncommon, it has happened here with what we call a snow squall. And if you see a snow squall warning, that's one of those situations you do not want to travel under those circumstances, okay? And really, you shouldn't travel at all this weekend. If you can avoid it, avoid it. Now, here comes that pause, Saturday afternoon. Just some light snow here and there. Again, it's going to be a deceiving pause. A little bit later in the day, late evening, we start to see the snow return. And look at how quickly wave number 2 races up the Will Rogers Turnpike. And by 8 o'clock Saturday, we are right back in the thick of it. Wave number 1 looks to bring us maybe about, at least at this point, about 1/3 of our total storm accumulations. Wave number 2 is going to dump the other 2/3 from late Saturday into Sunday. I know we're starting progressively to hear about some cancellations and stuff, so make sure you're checking with things as we head into the weekend, especially churchgoers Sunday morning. I mean, odds are you're probably going to have services canceled. Now, as we go through Sunday, we'll have additional snow, not nearly as intense, but we will have additional snow through the morning hours, gradually coming to an end from west to east as we go later into the evening Sunday and eventually into our Monday morning, and the snow is done. So that part's over with. But here's what we're looking at in terms of snow totals. I told you this morning that this one was going a little too high. So what I told it is I said, let's scale this back just a bit. And we've scaled it back. This, I think, is a much more accurate representation. Are some of these numbers maybe a bit too high still? Possibly. Are some of them a little too low? Possibly. But I think on average, we're looking at numbers like this. And the winter storm warnings for southeast Kansas are, well, excluding Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties, are for anywhere from 5 to 9 inches. The winter storm warnings for everyone else specify 6 to 12. So that's what we want to watch out for, is this snow out there. Winter storm warnings, as I mentioned, across a good portion of the area, in fact, almost the entire area. We now have an extreme cold warning, Oklahoma and Arkansas, cold weather advisories everywhere else, because again, we're talking these wind chills, that's what these are for, are going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below zero. So kids, as I've mentioned, this is not a snow that you can go out and play in. I know it's going to stink. You're going to want to get out there, but the cold is going to be too dangerous. We're still looking at highs on average today about 50, mid-20s tomorrow, down into the teens. We're looking at 4 below for the low Sunday night into Monday. And that goes into just briefly the other half of this. This snow is not going to clear out on its own. It's not going to melt on its own. So I am willing to bet that a number of schools will be canceled for Monday. A number of things will probably be closed for Monday. And I'd say depending on who gets how much snow, that could last into Tuesday of next week as well. So make sure you're making those plans now too, for the kids to maybe be home a couple extra days, or for you to be home a couple of extra days out there.
Well, definitely something to watch. Thanks, Chris. Stick around. We're making secret ingredient meatloaf in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. We're making secret ingredient meatloaf in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you ask 10 people how to make a really good meatloaf, you'll probably get 10 or more different answers. That's because everyone seems to have their own secret method. So to shake things up, I figured I'd share a spin-off on an American classic. We start by mixing together 1.5 pounds of ground beef, an egg, some chunky salsa, a generous amount of ranch-flavored tortilla chips that we've crushed up, a bit of shredded Mexican cheese blend, and a few spices to give it a kick. You see, the salsa makes this moist, and it's the shortcut that adds chopped peppers and onions and lots of flavor without any extra work. It's our secret weapon. And when it comes to mixing it, which I suggest doing with your hands, make sure you don't overmix it or it'll get tough once it's baked. Now, into a loaf pan it goes, and we'll pop it in the oven. Right before it's done, top it off with a bit more cheese to make it even more special. If you want, serve it with some extra salsa and get ready for lots of oohs and ahs. The recipe for our secret ingredient meatloaf is online now as a tasty new twist on one of America's favorite weeknight meals. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we're looking for a more flavorful way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, again, get your shopping and stuff done today. About 50 for that high. Cold front tonight, down to the teens. Mid-20s tomorrow. Alert day, Saturday, Sunday. Heavy snow, and in our region, anywhere from 5 to 12 inches will be possible with higher amounts, locally higher amounts also. And on top of that, wind chills 10 to 20 degrees below zero. So very dangerous out there. Stay indoors if you can. Stay off the roads this weekend. And be prepared for school closures, cancellations Monday, and maybe even into Tuesday of next week.
Yeah, some of those are almost certain, I think.
Yeah, I think so at this point.
Thanks, Chris. What do you have for us tonight?
Well, a lot at 5 for starters. New research is giving fresh insight into how our brain works, not just ours, but our pets. Scientists say some dogs are picking up new skills by eavesdropping. The study found super smart canines can pick up new words from listening in on conversations. Plus, we're going to check in on the Missouri and Kansas side to see how Department of Transportation is preparing for the wintry weekend. And we're introduced to a drone program set to strengthen rural healthcare providers. So you join us at 5.
Thanks, Dow. That's new for now. Thank you for joining us for KLM News at noon. Have a great afternoon.